But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And how's everybody doing today, chat? Well, I just get everything set up the way I need it to be. So yesterday we were looking at Maya Poet, who is a very special grifter who combines Graham Linehan and Rami Davidian grifting about October 7th and about detransition. Really just a remarkable person with a haircut that is sort of giving Chanterelle Mushroom. And who had a really remarkable story about how she survived October 7th by not being there, which I thought was a really nice touch. And I'm surprised that none of the Saka scumbags managed to come up with anything similar. The press would have eaten it up. And I thought, why not follow that up with another person everybody was just really hoping to hear for? Now, we all heard what ContraPoints had to say about Gaza. She broke her silence, she spoke out, and proved definitively that there was something worse than her being silent on the subject. And I know what we were all thinking. There was one person we just absolutely had to hear from on this subject. Steve, the Sex Pestiny. And what do you know? He's got a video. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's how I survived 9/11 too. I'm a survivor. I survived 9/11 by being in Cincinnati. It worked really well. I recommend it. It's like one of the few times I recommend being in Cincinnati. ContraPoints finally speaks out and gets attacked by Vosh and Hassan. Poor thing. I wonder if there could be any reason, it'll be interesting to see. I'm using a new DNS server, AdGuard DNS, which is supposed to block ad requests at the DNS level so that you don't even really need an ad blocker. And I'm really kind of curious to see how well it works. But here we go.
I don't know. And this is why Contra's message was weak. And I'm sorry, I love Contra, and I like that she tries to have a reasonable position. But,
the reasonable position. I can't think of any worse condemnation for ContraPoints than this ghoul calling her position reasonable. No matter what anyone else has had to say about her, no matter what I said, no matter what, Noah Samson said, and Hassan said, and all the people who had things to say on the subject said, there is nothing worse that anyone could possibly have said than for Destiny to call this reasonable. Hey, Adria, bonsoir.
You're already cucked if you want to say that, like, okay, guys, they're doing a genocide. And, like, one, no one's giving you any points for that. And two, it's retarded. It's...
I mean, that's because, of course, that's what it's about. It's about points. It's about getting points. That's what we should all fucking care about, is getting points in this situation. Hello, Shakespeare.
retarded because if you really believe they're doing a genocide, then the only option is annihilation. And
the only option is annihilation of what?
At this point, it's like, it turns into just your own personal, incredibly petty, incredibly self-centered attitude.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It is that.
Contra drama? Dude, I don't want to. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And like, and Vosh, Ian Fokinski does not get to call any take on this subject bad. Hutch? Who's Hutch? I'm not familiar with this person. Like, this motherfucker was saying that, like, Yemen sanctioning Israel was bad because it would cause problems for international maritime trade. And that therefore it was good that the US had started with a war with Yemen in order to stop them sanctioning Israel. Like, I mean, if he considers your take on Palestine to be shitty, then
everyone's already dunking on her, and they're all already right. I'm not included. She put out this like rambling, narcissistic post about.
God, I really hate that he's making sense, but he's absolutely right. It was rambling and narcissistic.
How she's anti-genocide in Gaza, but the reason she hasn't talked about it is because...
Seriously, like, lo dijo, así lo dijo, well. If you go back in my videos on my YouTube channel, you will find it. If you just look up, if you just look up trade or Yemen, you will find part 1 and 2 of me looking at the remarkably shitty take that he had on that.
Because it's depressing and glib, and she feels like the left hasn't done anything productive by bringing attention to it, and it's the left's fault and the left's problem, and blah, blah, blah. So many leftists feel betrayed because I haven't made a video on Palestine. Do they actually want a ContraPoints video about Palestine? Will they be happy if I get in the bath and pour milk on a mannequin of Benjamin Netanyahu?
I mean, yeah, that's clearly what people were asking for. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I've read this like 4 times now. I did a line-by-line react to it last week, and still I look at that line and it's like, what the fuck?
No, I have posted about Gaza occasionally and have quietly given money to Palestinian aid orgs. But what I think what leftists really want is for me to join their chorus of anger. They sense...
Again, what the fuck? Like, maybe anger is a reasonable thing. Maybe if you have that kind of a platform and you want to be, then you should use it for good things. Well, I mean, what he said so far is not wrong. I mean, it's just that his positions on this have been so shitty at various times. And he is just in general a shitty person. I mean, like, let's just remember that he thinks decolonization is genocide.
Hesitation on my part, and are judging me very harshly on my presumed opinions. I'd rather be judged on my actual opinions, so here they are. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. Do I feel angry about it? Yes. I also feel a lot of other things. Chapter 1, Doom.
A cash-on-delivery streamer.
Week after October 7th, it was clear the mood of...
Like, why is this centered, by the way? I mean, this looks like it ought to be a lyric poem, but it isn't.
Among Israeli leaders and civilians was overwhelmingly kill or be killed, existential panic, and unstoppable lust for revenge. It reminded me of the U.S. after 9/11. There was no reason you're protesting about it. Nor was it politically feasible for the U.S. to withdraw aid to Israel on a time frame that would make a difference. And it's been like 2 years now. It would have required replacing most of Congress and overturning decades of bipartisan strategy and diplomacy. Even the best case scenario...
Like, okay, what's the fucking point? Like, lots of things, like literally every good thing that has happened in society has involved forcing powerful people to change their political priorities. Like, this is such a shitty position. Like, well, they wouldn't have wanted to do it. Well, yeah, that's why you fucking protest. It's why you do civil disobedience. It's why you are ungovernable. To force them to do a thing they don't want. I mean, if we're just going to say, well, you know, the politicians don't want this obviously, undeniably good thing that is the only right thing to do in a particular situation, therefore, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Like, what kind of... Then there's really no point. Then nothing good ever is going to happen, actually.
It would have taken years, so there was a sense of futility. But worse, Chapter 2, misery. Well, oh, the misery. The leftist pro-Palestine movement quickly decided that their primary goal was not merely opposition to the genocide, but opposition to Zionism in general. That is, opposition to the existence of Israel as a Jewish state. And here they decided to...
Well, I mean, that's so terrible. First of all, I mean, that's still such a what the fuck. Because that wasn't a sudden thing, first of all. That debate ended like a decade ago. And for another thing, like... Why is it bad to be against ethno-states?
Draw the line separating decent people from genocidal fascists, which had the following consequences. It shrunk the coalition. Zionist is a very broad category. Most Jews are Zionists. Anyone who supports a two-state solution is a Zionist. Mabdani, why wouldn't you visit Israel after becoming mayor of New York City? Oh, I have to debunk this. Do I? Anyone who watches me understands why this is really bad. What she's saying is like arguing against the Holocaust without arguing against Nazis. Well, it's like arguing against...
No, I mean, that's not wrong.
It's the Holocaust without arguing against Lebensraum, right? The genocide in Gaza is a direct...
Well, no, Lebensraum was just a particular... First of all, I mean, Lebensraum isn't really the specific thing that led the Nazis to be anti-Semitic. That actually had a lot more to do with A, the fact that they just were, and B, anti-communism as well. But Lebensraum was not really that. And Lebensraum was just an offshoot of the overall fucking genocidal ideology.
It's a product of Zionism. Zionism is the reason why they were in an open-air concentration camp. It's the reason Hamas exists. It's the reason there are walls without...
I mean, and again, what he's saying here is not wrong. What he's saying here is not wrong. It would be really nice if he would apply that to, like, settler colonialism generally, as opposed to, like, to smearing Professor Flowers for doing just that.
Automated turrets that shoot people when they come near. It's the reason why in the West Bank there are roads that only Jews can use. It's Zionism is the reason for all of this. Like, the Holocaust didn't happen because the people in Germany, the Nazis, said, well, we should just do one, right? It was the consequence of an underlying ideology that demanded the eradication of other groups as a way of expressing the supremacy of their own. Do you think supporting a two-state solution is Zionism?
Thank you.
So there's a difference. So unfortunately, she's providing really bad analysis.
And that's Vosh's job.
The people who I know who have advocated for a two-state solution have done so as a way of addressing the immediate harm of Gaza being essentially like an occupied sub-territory of Israel.
Well, wait, what? Actually, I mean, the thing is, yes, and there was quite a bit of anti-Semitism in Germany, but Germany was by no means the most anti-Semitic place in Europe. In fact, there was a major destination for Jewish refugees. It was actually where Jews were doing better than practically anywhere but France on continental Europe.
Not a long-term goal. Because obviously, if you implemented a two-state solution, you would...
Which is just apartheid, it's worth remembering.
Then still have a Jewish ethno-state.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of problems with Bush and his ilk. There's lots of problems with Bush and his ilk. That's one of them. There's also the sort of PDF file thing. That's also kind of fucked up. And there's the fact that he's actually kind of a white supremacist.
Like, that wouldn't change the fact that Israel, say in the West Bank, or however you drew the lines, right? Israel would still be, in law, Jewish supremacist. Like,
which is a term that both liberal Zionists and literal neo-Nazis like to use in order to avoid acknowledging that Zionism is a white supremacist ideology.
The term a Jewish state is a dog whistle, right? Like when white supremacists say they want America to be a white country, America is already plurality white. What they mean by that, obviously, is an ethno-state. Like, duh. If a member of the AFD says they want Germany to remain...
Okay, again, it's like... This is literally all that fucking Professor Flowers was trying to explain to him about decolonization. But when it was about South Africa, he immediately started going like full white genocide about it.
In a German state. Like, let's not be stupid, you know what they mean. Even if they don't mean only, like, ethnic...
Just anybody that says ethno-state or anybody that says, like, Jewish supremacy, because, that's not what any of this means.
Oh, that's right, I almost forgot. We got Sex Pestany to tell us what any of this means. Because he went on a propaganda junket. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, Finkelstein has been in his liberal Zionist cringe arc for a decade now. I mean, I would say he is experiencing very high-level burnout, and rather than just shutting the fuck up for a while, which, I mean, to a great extent would be an improvement over a lot of what he's said, basically since BDS started. He has, alas, not done that. But okay, so Sex Pestany went on a propaganda junket with Netanyahu's spokesperson, and also Bonerlocks was there too. So obviously he understands what all these things mean.
This is just analysis done by people who are like very clearly part of the West and have never considered a frame of reference outside of their own.
Like the idea is that Israel isn't part of the West? That'll surprise Zionists. That'll surprise like Netanyahu in particular, whose whole thing is that Israel is a bulwark of the West. Like, so his thing is that this is a Western analysis. Like, what? Wow.
They're incapable of actually understanding anything outside of a very white Western.
This is a white Western ideology. It was invented by fucking anti-Semitic Protestants.
Realistic, ironically enough, perspective. Like, you can have ethno-states without thinking that you're like a racially superior people.
Wow. He's trying to explain how there's such a thing as a good ethno-state. There is such a thing as a good state where it is not the state of its citizens, but of only one particular ethnic group who get to have all the fucking rights, whereas everybody else there, he's having a normal one.
There are multiple Arab states in the Middle East that like explicitly call out like religion or Arabness in their founding documents, in their constitution.
Yeah, this is bullshit. Because the thing is, all those states, first of all, are explicitly states of their citizens. Second of all, when we talk about Arabness in the context of Pan-Arabism, literally what they're talking about is they had a very actually open and ecumenical definition of what is an Arab. Anyone who was a native speaker of Arabic counted as an Arab, regardless of religion, national origin, anything like that. So it was actually a very inclusive concept of Arabism. But the thing is, like right now, you can't really point to any other state that isn't explicitly that is explicitly not the state of its citizens, but the state of one particular ethnic group, wherever they are in the world. It doesn't exist.
The idea that like Jews think they're superior and that's why they want an ethno-state is stupid. It's such...
That's not even the fucking argument. That's not even the fucking argument. The point is, it's an ethno-state because it is officially not the state of its citizens, but the state of all people of Jewish ethnicity wherever we are. Second of all, because flowing from that, people who fall under the definition of Jewish that is enshrined in Israel's race laws have superior rights within the country. They're the only people who get full citizenship. Everybody else is second or third class.
Such a baseless, stupid thing to say. It's like it so immediately makes it clear you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
No. Keep on going. You were just explaining how there's also such a thing as a good ethno-state.
German people would be there. What they're talking about is a legal and social prioritization of those groups. Obviously, this is untenable. I don't think ethno-states should exist at all. But at the very least...
Like, this comment is so worthless. I don't think ethno-states should exist at all. Like, that's a stat... Like, this is the equivalent of a white person saying...
Yeah, good point,
like,
Shakespeare.
I think all forms...
Like, literally, there have been Jewish Israelis who wanted to have the nationality on their ID document just say Israeli. And the courts have held that there is no such thing as an Israeli nationality because Israel is, again, the state of the Jewish people wherever they are.
Of equity or wealth redistribution are unfair. There should be a flat tax and everybody should keep their own stuff. I think that all forms wealth redistribution are this is the equivalent of a white person saying
this is Sex Pestany telling us about what it means when people say that ethno-states shouldn't exist.
Like, I think all forms of equity or, wealth redistribution are unfair. There should be a flat tax and everybody should keep their own stuff. I think that...
What?
All forms of unfairness are bad, and so wealthy people shouldn't be taxed more than poor people. Everyone should pay...
That's not the same thing!
It's just on its face, I'm stupid. When you say there should be no ethno-states at all, and then you have a region where every single state is massively favoring a single ethnicity.
No, it isn't massively favoring a single ethnicity. It just happens to be the overwhelming majority of the population.
And they're de facto ethno-states.
No, they're not. That's not how that works.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I agree. And let's use this argument to go destroy the one state that we want to, aggressively change the ethnicity of. It's like, okay, well, this is kind of...
Well, I wonder if there was a step before that where maybe somebody else aggressively changed the ethnicity of that place. Actually, a lot of libertarians, right libertarians, I should be clear, are for a flat tax.
Kind of like a stupid point, right? Nobody's threatening the ethnic demographics of any of the surrounding states.
Well, what if the actual ethnic demographics of Palestine were fundamentally changed by a colonial invasion?
It's only one. So when you say, well, ethno-states are bad, but everyone else gets to be a de facto ethno-state, it's like...
He's literally using ethno-state to mean a place that has a certain majority. That doesn't even make... That's just not what that is.
Well, this is stupid.
At least a two-state solution would take the pressure off, right? It would, in the immediate sense, free the Palestinians from being completely subjugated to Israeli power.
Except it wouldn't. It literally wouldn't. If you look at what actually is proposed as a Palestinian state, it is never an actual state. It never gets to have control over its borders. It never gets to have control over its foreign policy. It never gets to have an army. It is literally just a fucking Bantustan. And that doesn't even get into that doesn't even address the fact that 20% of the population within the so-called Green Line are Palestinians who are second-class citizens, well, actually really third-class citizens, because they are not Jewish under the race laws.
So if a person believes in a two-state solution as an immediate harm reduction thing, I don't think that's Zionist.
What is it? But that is just already silly as hell. Because it's not an immediate harm reduction thing. There's no evidence that it's not an immediate thing. It's literally an impossible thing. It is, he's right about one thing, accidentally. That it is a way of taking the pressure off. Because, pro-Israel propagandists will just say, oh, obviously we're for a two-state solution. And it takes the pressure off them because it sounds like, oh, it sounds like they're for something good. And nobody asks what that means or whether they actually are serious about that, which they're not, because nobody is who talks about a two-state solution anymore. Like, literally nobody who says that is remotely serious. Either they have no idea what they're saying, or they know exactly what they're saying and they know that it's fucking impossible.
If a person believes in a two-state solution as a long-term goal in which Israel remains a Jewish ethno-state, that would be a problem.
Like when people like Vosh, and I don't know if Vosh is just like a huge like Islamic dick suck or whatever, but when you say that like
I think we know about his proclivities, and that's not them.
Anything that protects the ethnic identity of the Jewish state is bad.
Well, yes, because that's yeah. I mean, isn't that weird how racist things are bad? I mean, even Vosh in this particular case, and not in pretty much any other analogous case, is it's worth noting, thinks that ethno-states are bad. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, literally, Palestinians are banned from converting. Like they will, in Germany, there are so many fucking cosplay Jews. Like, they have absolutely no connection with anything. They just it happens to be useful to the German state to have them trot out as representatives of Jews because they say the things that Germany needs Jews to be saying. Yeah, Vosh is too Islamophilic, and now he's talking about how, wow, anything that might actually require Israel to have equal rights for all of its citizens is bad, actually.
What you are saying, they don't want to own this, but what you're saying is that like the ethnic Jewish state should be destroyed and it should become another Arab state.
Well, yes, the ethno-state should be... Like, what do you mean people don't want to own this? This is literally what people are saying when they say that they're fucking... when they say that they're against ethno-states, when they say that Israel should not be an explicitly racist colonial regime. Like, that is literally what they're saying. Anyone who is at all hesitant to own this, because Zionist propagandists will use this sort of emotive language like destroy the Jewish state or something like that. You just need to nod. Like, fuck that. It's a fucked up thing. Like, this South African apartheid state, also an ethno-state, was also destroyed. And that was a good thing. Okay, we got a link spammer, and we no longer have a link spammer. Well, fucking... Yeah, I mean, Germany is fucking wild. Germany is, like, the only place I've been where there are, like, people who are, like, Jew weebs. Like, that's the only place where we have our own fucking weebs. And it is creepy as fuck. It is total Get Out vibes.
Because if you concede that there should be no ethnic protections for the makeup of the country...
No ethnic protections for the makeup of the country. Yes, okay, so, like, literally we should not have Nuremberg laws.
That you're saying that there's an infinite right of return for all of the Palestinians, of which there's an arbitrarily 5, 6, 7 million defined as refugees.
That's not arbitrary, and yeah, that's just what international law says, it's worth noting. Like, if Israel didn't want these people to have the right of return, they shouldn't have kicked them out in the first place. It is weird, it is creepy, it is, like, it is very uncomfortable.
Every single one of them gets to go back to Israel proper, all of them get to vote, Jews become a minority there, and whatever logically...
Well, wouldn't it be wild if actually Jews had been a minority there in the first place?
Logically follows from that, but it's probably going to be, if not anything else, a mass exodus of the Jewish people there, back to...
Well, no, but actually there already is a fucking mass exodus of settlers. They're already leaving, and about half of them say that they're considering leaving. It's so much of a problem for the regime that when they started that war with Iran, that they had to get bailed out of, because they once again started shit they couldn't finish. They actually imposed a ban on Jewish Israelis flying out of the country because they knew people were going to be fucking leaving. Because the place is it is a 4chan shithole, and it is economically falling apart at the seams.
Back to Brooklyn, I guess, where they want them all to go. Right, stupid.
I think that political dynamic would still produce things like this genocide. Because you would still have a highly militarized, supremacist Jewish state right next to the new Palestinian state with U.S. weapons, with far-right backing, you know, like you get the point?
It was politically infeasible. What is the pathway that takes us from the present situation to the dissolution of Israel as a Jewish state?
I mean, and the obvious thing is, if you actually look at it, it's already happening. The fucking settler society is falling apart at the seams. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that is unusual about the number of generations of refugees is that usually the way it works is that when there are sort of two off-ramps for refugee status. Either people just decide that they're going to live in the place that they're from, that they now live, and they're kind of done with it. They give up on that, or the cause that forced them to flee in the first place is alleviated, and therefore they return home. What's unusual about the situation of the Palestinians is how long the situation that has caused them to be refugees in the first place has persisted. Oh, I get it, because this is a standard pro-Israel talking point. They act like this is something unusual rather than an application of standard black-letter international refugee law to an unusual situation.
I mean, withholding support, that would be a good start, I guess. Like, maybe it would be more difficult for Israel to remain an ethno-state if they weren't backed by the most powerful country in the world who just agrees with everything they do and supports them.
Probably not that much more difficult.
Actual line in the sand rather than what Biden did, which was multiple red lines that he would lie about, and then when Israel did cross those red lines.
Well, that is actually a misconception. If people were not listening carefully when he stated what those supposed red lines were, because every single one of them had wiggle words. Every single one of them was set up so that you could arbitrarily say that it was never crossed. Like, I mean, the most notorious example was Rafah. Would people think that the red line was that Biden had said Israel doesn't get to attack Rafah? He did not say that. He said a new major operation in Rafah. Well, what's a major operation? Who gets to decide what a major operation is? Well, Biden and fucking Netanyahu do, obviously. And so they said, okay, well, flattening Rafah and expelling all of the people who were there, including hundreds of thousands of people who had went there because it was supposedly a safe zone, was not a major operation. Like, that's the thing. That is the fucking game that they play. That is the whole thing is you listen to these things, and if you listen carefully, you will always find something in there that allows it to never be verifiable. I mean, the Labour Party in Britain do this with 0 hours contracts. Over there, they have these things called 0 hours contracts. It's basically they have a special category of contract that is basically the way all employment contracts work in the United States. You get no guarantee of hours, you get no guarantee of pay, you have to be on call all the time, etc. And so and it's very unpopular because it's a shitty way to live. You can't live like that. So what Labor has been pledging to do since 2015 actually, or so, is end exploitative 0 hours contracts. Well, that sounds great, doesn't it? Until you remember that they've got that weird little adjective exploitative in there. And so when they're declaring victory, they entered exploitative 0 hours contracts. And it turns out, just as I was saying, I got a bunch of shit from Labor supporters at the time when they first unveiled this. saying this is clearly going to be used as a way to to maintain the legality of at least some 0 hours contracts, and that is exactly what they've done.
Think would happen? That would, I mean, it would be a good start, right? Some kind of meaningful political opposition. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else,
Which is already happening.
Nuclear war. I wouldn't mind a total internal collapse of Israeli society. They're currently doing a genocide. I don't know.
Like this is why also, and this is why Contra's message was weak.
God, he's such a smug piece of shit. With his fucking first grade class photo haircut.
Get pussy. I'm sorry. I love Contra, and I like that she tries to have a reasonable position.
Well, ContraPoints, if you're listening, Natalie, how do you feel? This is who you're getting fucking defended by. This guy, the fucking sex pest who went on a propaganda junket with Netanyahu's personal fucking mini-me.
But, like, you're already cucked if you want to say that, like, okay, guys, they're doing a genocide. And, like, one, no one's giving you any points for that. And two, it's retarded. It's...
Yeah, like, obviously, we've got to have some ableist slurs, because it is sex pestiny. But, like, maybe there's a reason to care about this stuff other than getting points. What if the reason to care about this is that we bear a certain amount of moral responsibility for this situation because it depends entirely on our governability? Those fucking supply lines run through the cities that we live in. We could stop this shit if we put our minds to it. And we don't. And maybe the reason to care about this is that we need to be doing everything that is possible, everything within our hands to make it stop. Because this shouldn't be going on. It's a horrible fucking thing. And like, people will rightly look at this generation and say, well, what were you doing at the time? And Destiny will be like, there was no time. What are you talking about time? Time is just an Arab thing. You probably like to suck Islamic dick or something like that, talking about time like that. There is no time. Time is an anti-Israel conspiracy.
Retarded because if you really believe they're doing a genocide, then the only option is annihilation.
Annihilation of what?
Like, how are you going to negotiate with a whole country that's decided to genocide someone?
Well, why would you negotiate? Like, we don't... And here's the thing. From the point of view of the U.S., doesn't need to negotiate shit, and they also don't need to annihilate shit. If the U.S. cuts off the supply lines, just cuts off all the weapons supply, stops covering for Israel diplomatically, stops providing all the political support, stops sending the weapons, all that stuff, the whole thing that just ends. It comes to a grinding halt. In fact, you wouldn't even have to do it. You would just have to tell them you were about to do it, and they would already have to be thinking about it. Yeah. I mean, I don't even think Destiny is serious about never again in any other situation.
There's no negotiations to be had.
But I agree, there is no negotiation to be had. But you don't need to. I mean, if you're in the country that is making the genocide possible, then you don't need to annihilate them.
These guys are doing genocide and apartheid and ethnic cleansing. Like, why would you ever negotiate with a state like that?
Yeah, why would you? I agree. It shouldn't exist. It absolutely shouldn't exist. That's what you're saying.
The only option is annihilation. And Vosh says it very clearly here, which is nice. He's honest about it, right? Oh, I wouldn't mind a total and utter collapse of Jewish society.
It isn't Jewish society. Most Jews don't live there, asshole. Like, most of us are living elsewhere, and the tendency is actually for the proportion of us who do not live in occupied Palestine to go up.
But when Syria is collapsing, it's really bad. When Yemen is collapsing, it's really bad. When any of, like, the surrounding Arab states...
Yemen isn't collapsing. What are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the fact that the U.S. and Saudi Arabia were carrying out a genocidal siege of Yemen in order to punish them for overthrowing the wonderful dictator the U.S. had imposed upon them in the first place? That's not the same fucking thing, actually.
collapse is really bad. But for Zionism, that's the one that absolutely needs to fucking collapse. That's where we need the regime change. Like, really?
Yeah, well, yes, really. I mean, it's a shitty regime. It's a fucking white supremacist ethno state. Yeah, of course he doesn't give a shit about Sudan. He doesn't give a shit about any... I mean, this motherfucker is a Kyle Shittentraus fan.
Let's see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, nuclear war. I wouldn't mind a total...
This is such a fucking glib thing to say. Oh, or else, nuclear war. When people say that, it's not... They're not being serious about it. They're not engaging in serious discussion. Because if you wanted to engage in serious discussion about what it would take to make this extremely racist, genocidal regime end and be replaced with something decent, you wouldn't just immediately say, well, I guess the only thing for it is fucking nuclear war. Like, shut the fuck up. That's not a serious thing to say.
Internal collapse of Israeli society. They're currently doing a genocide.
Also, this is why Israelis listen to leftists and they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we do support Trump. Why the fuck would we ever? Or if you're even like Jews in New York looking at Mamdani, when people like...
Actually, a lot of Jews in New York backed Mamdani. The racist right-wing shithead ones didn't.
This are speaking for the left. It's like, oh, okay, so you are basically like a Nazi when it comes to Jews.
No, and the way you can tell, Sex Pastini, is Nazis are the people you hang out with.
I guess, which is just a Nazi. So, yeah, we have no desire to work with or listen to you or do anything with you because you are literally advocating for the complete and utter destruction of our society. So
no, it isn't our society. Like, he's literally... Did you notice he's, saying that Jews that Israel is the society of Jews in New York? That's a really weird fucking thing to say, isn't it, dog? Because I would have thought that the society that Jews in New York are a part of is the society in fucking New York. Maybe the society in North America as a whole.
I don't know. Feel like there are worse things. Like, if a country's doing it... listen, okay? I supported the UN intervention into Serbia, the bombing that we did of Serbia.
Which... Now, this is such a fucking cell phone. Because the thing is, first of all, it wasn't a UN intervention. It was very specifically not a UN intervention. It was a US attack on Yugoslavia. Not just Serbia. And it caused the ethnic cleansing that everybody talks about. Like, literally, everything that Milosevic was charged with in the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia related to Kosovo was after the U.S. started bombing.
And what Serbia was doing to the Albanians was nothing even remotely close to what Israel's doing to the Palestinians.
Yeah, I mean, that much is true, but again, the U.S. did not stop that. The U.S. actually created the pretext for it to happen in the first place. And it killed 6,000 civilians. And really interestingly, it destroyed a lot of the last independent industries in Europe. Like, the last independent cigarette factory, not owned by one of the big corporate groups, was destroyed in that. And various other things. And then later, Strobe Talbot, one of Clinton's top people, admitted, yeah, it was bullshit. What we were trying to do was pressure Milosevic into accepting neoliberal reforms.
So my line for when should UN warplanes drop... NATO, sorry, not UN, NATO. When should NATO warplanes drop bombs?
NATO is doing the genocide, though. I mean, what, is NATO going to drop bombs on itself?
To pacify the aggressors is clearly way lower than what Israel's doing right now. I don't know how you can support NATO intervention in Serbia but not support intervention into Israel.
I mean, and here we're getting this... again, this is just a wild position as well, because, again, it doesn't require this... NATO, first of all, NATO is literally the one doing the genocide. All of the NATO states that are arms producers are supporting it. I mean, there are a couple of exceptions there. Like, Spain has largely desisted. Belgium is kind of iffy. But the other thing is, there would be no need for the U.S. to bomb Israel. Because the U.S. could just cut off the aid. They could make a phone call. They could make a fucking phone call and say, it's over, you're not getting any more weapons, call your dogs off, get all those motherfuckers out of Gaza, and the only thing that we want to see going into Gaza from now on is aid trucks and construction materials and fucking reparations. And Israel would have absolutely no choice but to do it. And well, yeah, he is totally pro-Madeleine Albright. He was also pro-bombing Yemen to stop them sanctioning Israel for what he acknowledges as a genocide. He's garbage. He's a garbage take man.
I think the UN should occupy Israel. Get some blue helmets down there for 100 years, for all I care. Jesus. And stop giving them weapons. Stop giving Israel...
That's all you would need to do. That is literally all you'd need to do. And the thing is, yeah, no, it's true, as Natalie Wynn says, that the ruling class, the political class, don't want to stop giving those weapons. There's a lot of money being made off of this genocide. But the thing is, there are these other people called fucking workers. And none of this shit happens without us either actively participating or passively acquiescing. And if we stopped doing both of those things, this shit would fall apart pretty quickly.
More weapons! Jesus! And then there's this wonderful line. As usual, leftists have championed a doomed cause. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful thing to say when, like, does she know that Palestinians are also on the internet? People in Gaza are listening, and like, they care, actually. They really do care what we say and do, contrary to what, like, fucking Twaddly Wynn has to say. They actually care, and hearing somebody that prominent say, oh, it's a doomed cause, that's fucked up to say.
Don't support desegregation because it's not immediately feasible. Don't support an end to the Vietnam War because it's not immediately feasible. Don't support an end to the Iraq War.
Yeah, I mean, and the oil majors are fucking cleaning up. It's like the only way that they're ever cleaning up. Otherwise, they just make the messes. They only clean up on the fucking share market.
Because it's not immediately this is just you territory. This is like unsalvageable. It always, at the end of the day, weaker people than me, I should say, always circle back around to directing their hate and orienting their politics around aggression towards people that they dislike. And the group of people that are giving Contra the most shit for previous livery have been leftists. So it comes back around to that. Anyway, yeah, this logically doesn't work. Like, armchair psychoanalysis aside, this just logically doesn't work. Basically, every progressive cause starts out as or more doomed than opposition to Israel today.
I mean, again, he's not wrong. The level, I mean, this is one of the many reasons I thought it was just wild to hear her saying this in 2025. Because the tide has well and truly turned on this. In the U.S., the majority of people have an unfavorable view of Israel. Like, that's unheard of. This, I mean, and that's not just the U.S., like in the, like, Western countries, the countries that are all making this genocide possible, the genocide axis. They, I mean, pretty much all of them, Israel has a majority unfavorable approval rating. The tide has turned. That is a thing that actually really changes things, because on a certain level. Because previously, one of the things, there was political cover, because most people kind of were okay with, they thought Israel was okay. They didn't know, they didn't know what Israel got up to, or they did know and they were able to justify it. And so politicians could sort of talk to that sort of fairly wishy-washy majority that didn't really, or, didn't really know, didn't really want to bother trying to figure it out because it's complicated and everything. And now that's now that's changed. Now overwhelmingly people are looking at it and they think it's horrible.
everything from gay marriage to contra support for trans people. Like, right now, trans rights are looking pretty bleak in the West.
Yes, despite the fact that actually there has not... One thing I just have to point out here. There has nowhere where there's been this attack on trans rights, neither the US nor Britain, the two main places, has there been any sign of any kind of popular outcry to do something about trans people or whatever. It has come very much from above. The major media, the politicians, rich and powerful motherfuckers who for whatever reason have decided that trans people are like the soft target that they can go after in order to break solidarity between like LGBT people generally and...
Do I waver? No. I think we should put our foot down and hold firm on all of it, including, participation in sports. I'm consistent. If every progressive...
And I mean, he's not consistent, I should note.
...acted the way you're recommending leftists act with Palestine, consistently on every issue, nothing would ever get done.
I mean, again, second shittiest person on the screen right now has an entirely correct point. Like, literally every improvement in society, everything, like, whether it's, like, the 8-hour day or the end of Jim Crow, at least de jure, all of that started out, there was no political will to do it, and the issue had to be forced from below. That is the way it always happens. It gets forced from below, and then concessions start getting offered because people in power are trying to take the pressure off of them.
Also, right now, American support for Israel is lower than America's opposition to MLK. Or I guess what I should say is opposition to Israel is a more popular position than support for MLK during much of the civil rights movement.
I don't know about that, but it's entirely plausible. Because opposition to Israel is the majority position now.
It introduced dangerous ambiguities. The vagueness of Zionism as a political Satan enables all kinds of rhetorical abuses.
Satan,
on one hand, right-wing Israelis hold up all anti-Zionist
this is just so unserious.
Like,
Zionism is an ideology. You can actually look at what it says and what it does. You can read it. Like, last I checked, Natalie Wynn is some kind of philosopher. That's her academic background. She knows this. Like, history of ideas is kind of a key part of her academic background, and she talks about it like this. I mean, it's just so fucking unserious.
There's a long history of anti-Semitism in literally quick ways. Yeah, sure, we know that. Has to do with genocide, though. Like, there are some people who do that, and it's bad, and they should be called out. I don't really... Like, people will dog whistle to take an existing cause and manipulate it to serve their bigotry. Yeah, sure, I don't really...
Yeah, I mean, and there's a long history of fascists trying to hijack Palestinian solidarity work in order to turn it into their pet thing. And that's still going on with shitheads like Hinks and Jackal, or that asshole Adam, who gets a whole lot of retweets on Twitter because he says, or at the very least copy-pastes, occasionally some decent things on Palestine, and people don't look at what the rest of what he says, including his Twitter bio, which I think it says like anti-woke. It says some kind of Nazi shit in it, like, or that Jake Shields asshole.
See what that has to do with the underlying point. Anti-Semites are happy for the opportunity to misappropriate the now popular anti-Zionist label to legitimize their agenda, and many people...
Yeah, and that's true, and fuck them. That does not mean that we should stop opposing Zionism just because shitty people are trying to hijack that movement.
People are not informed enough about anti-Semitism to recognize when this is actually happening. These problems are mutually reinforcing. But there's a difference. See, it is the Zionists themselves who disingenuously conflate Zionism and Semitism, whereas it's the opportunity...
And Semitism? What the fuck is that?
Opportunist Nazis who jump on the back of anti-Zionist protests to take advantage of the rhetorical ambiguity that is being created by the Zionists, by the way. And
yeah, I mean, they're not meaningless. They're not really meaningfully pro-Palestine either. They don't give a shit about Palestinians. They just see it as a way to try to make to hijack the movement and turn it into something about world Jewish domination or some bullshit.
It in the service of their own ends. Or in other words, the Zionists are doing the bad thing. Whereas with regard to anti-Zionism, it's another group that's trying to co-opt the language. What exactly are we meant to do about that? Or to put it another way, how could you ever criticize Israel without anti-Semites trying to take advantage of it?
I mean, and again, second worst person on this screen. On the screen I'm looking at. I should be... Well, no, actually, on the screen you're looking at, too. I would assume. Because there are only 3 people on your screen, and I think I can confidently say that both of these assholes are worse than me in at least a lot of key respects. It has a totally valid thing. Like, if you're going to say... If you have what is just an objectively valid, uncontroversially decent thing that you're for, or an uncontroversially bad thing that you're against, the fact that assholes try to co-opt that is a reason to stop them co-opting it. It is not a reason to, change your position.
I mean, well, one thing is you could start by saying, I wouldn't mind the complete and utter collapse of the entire society. I mean, that could be like a start,
Fucking Sex Pestany is gonna give us lessons on anti-Semitism.
I think that you should do everything you can to excise them from your movement, to make it clear what you mean, to be precise in your definitions. But how on earth could you do that? Zionists put so much effort into conflating Judaism and Israel. It's like their main thing. They shield themselves with it. So as a consequence, they make it very easy.
Yeah, like to the extent that fucking Destiny keeps on talking about Jewish society, as if Jews are in the same society, wherever we are, we're in the same society as fucking settlers in Israel.
For Nazis and anti-Semites to take advantage of the rhetorical ambiguity. But what is the left meant to do about that, apart from being responsible when possible? It is, after all, often young progressive Jewish people who are at the forefront of these anti-Zionist marches, like Jewish Voice for Peace, advocates against this old colonial ethno-state project. Chapter 3, Dread. The online left has spent the last 20 months distributing hundreds of photos of videos of Palestinian children. The main fact is that this population people in a constant state of blood-boiling rage with no consequential weapon. Palestinians share photos of videos. The Western left isn't in Gaza. The Palestinians take those videos and share them online because they want their suffering to be visible. Not only the left is creating that media, it's Israel's creating
the media is created for you, though, right?
The subject of the media, but Palestinians are the ones creating that media. It's Israel's creating.
The media is created for you, though, right?
The subject of the media, but
well, the media is created for them in their interest in order to bear witness to what's being done to them.
Palestinians are the ones documenting it. I don't understand this point. I fear this may be worse than useless. Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are conceptually not the same, and conflating them is dangerous. But in practice, the way Israel is perceived does seep out into attitudes about Jews in general. I don't think Jews who feel isolated and wary in the current...
It seeps out, but only to the extent that you accept the Zionist idea that Zionism and Jews are one and the same.
...atmosphere are simply hysterical or hallucinating. Kind of a non-statement. As previously mentioned, there are anti-Semites who opportunistically take advantage of the anti-Israel, anti-Zionist protests, but...
Yeah, but the thing is, there are also, in the most socially acceptable form of anti-Semitism, is extremely pro-Zionist.
What does that mean? The conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism is the policy of Zionists. Their goal is to do that. How do you turn this into an anti-left argument? If you're so concerned about the conflation of these two ideas, why is every Zionist constantly screaming it from the rooftops? I would love it if it was, but I would Zionist, to be honest with you.
I know we don't care about the news anymore or anything that happens, but keep in mind that 2 Jewish people were murdered in, was it in D.C.?
Actually, no, not 2. One of them was an evangelical Christian, and they weren't just random Jewish people. One random Jewish person and an evangelical Christian Zionist. They were employees of a genocidal regime, and the German evangelical Christian there, his Twitter feed was full of him saying just Nazi shit. So no, it wasn't 2 random Jews. Shut the fuck up.
By a guy, who was saying, for Palestine, he just got murdered. But...
I wonder why they were standing against a backdrop that said Israel, 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 Sex Pestany. You think that might have been because they were working for the fucking Zionist regime?
You know, whatever it is, what it is.
Current form has much to do with Judaism at all. The underlying project is, of course, based in the Jewish homeland, the Middle East, so on and so forth. But as a political project, the way it manifests, it seems to be largely like a corporate and American Christian.
I don't know why you're donating for. I know we'll never get it, and the bridge has been burned for years. But an IP debate between you and Wash would feed him.
God, could please no more debates with fucking with either of them. I would like 100% less fucking Ian Kuczynski and 100% less Sex Pastini in debates. There is no reason for anyone to debate Sex Pastini. He knows nothing about this subject. He's made it very clear. It is absolutely ridiculous that he had a debate where it was like a table full of noted academic specialists on the area and him. A guy who read some shit on Wikipedia once.
He will never debate me on this. These people do not debate these topics. Israel Palestine is, it's like a holy text to them. They're not going to debate it. They're not going to do apologetics for it. They just...
Well, no. First of all, it's interesting that he said that it's a holy text. They're not going to do apologetics for it. Like, that is literally what you do with holy... I mean, that's where we get apologetics. Christian apologetics. Like, do you know anything, Sex Pastini?
Repeat the propaganda verbatim because they have no understanding of any of this issue. These are all slogans and...
Motherfucker, you have no... You're going to talk about people's understanding of this issue? You were absolutely... Even the genocidal ghoul who was there to argue his side from an actually literate fascist perspective, Benny Morris, was visibly uncomfortable every time fucking Sex Pastini opened his mouth in that thing. Because every time Sex Pastini opened his mouth, he demonstrated he did not understand a word of the handful of things he read.
Talking points. You're listening to somebody Markov chaining together different phrases that he's heard about the region. He doesn't know fuck all about anything having to do here. But nobody that talks about this, so who the fuck is?
Well, that's how he comforts himself. Because if nobody else knows of anything about it and talks about it, then he doesn't have to know anything either. I mean, his entire fucking career is talking about shit he knows nothing about.
Where Jews are weaponized to further, or the identity of Jewish people and their needs, or perceived needs, are weaponized by oftentimes anti-Semitic right-wingers in an effort to promote certain cultural or economic causes, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not exactly a secret that AIPAC and the AD...
He's not wrong here.
And other groups aligned with Zionism are usually used as bludgeons against the left. Right? Yes, there's communal trauma. Yes, there's disingenuous right-wing ghouls during all criticism of Israel on the pretext of fighting anti-Semitism. Wait, that's not disingenuous right-wing ghouls. That's the entire Zionist establishment. Literally, like that.
The entire Zionist establishment is disingenuous right-wing ghouls, though.
That is the playbook. It's not just the disingenuous right-wing ghouls.
Like, if these terms mean anything, then yes, Zionism is a right-wing ideology. It is fucking white supremacism. It is explicit racism.
That's the entire from Democrats, Republicans, that's the main strategy. Look at what
all those people are fucking right-wingers.
They did to Mamdani. That's in no way like a niche strategy. There's also a valid fear of historical anti-Semitic patterns recurring, and that fear gives power to the right-wing Zionist claim that only Israel can keep Jews safe. Yeah,
but no, it doesn't, though. It really doesn't, because Israel is promoting that, both by constantly doing horrible shit and then saying that they're doing it in the name of Jews, and by also hobnobbing with the biggest neo-Nazis of Western Europe and the U.S. Like, just openly courting genocidal anti-Semites. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, does anyone seriously look at what's going on in so-called Israel at the moment and think that that seems like a safe place? It's not a fucking... It is easily... If throughout its existence it has easily been the least safe place in the world for Jews, because it's constantly starting wars and doing things, doing fucking racist pogroms and shit against indigenous people, and therefore creating an extremely dangerous situation. It's a constant war zone. So no, it is not the only safe place, and nobody seriously believes that.
That's why Israel does this. Israel makes itself hated.
I wouldn't even say it is a safe place.
On an international and local stage, and conflates Judaism and Zionism, and then does horrible things in the name of Judaism, allegedly in the name of Judaism. They do it for Zionism. And that does attract international condemnation.
Yeah, I mean, he very explicitly said it, and he took that to lengths that even his fellow Zionists were uncomfortable with. He tried to make a deal with von Plehve, an official of the Russian Empire who was responsible for some of the worst pogroms. He tried to make a deal with them for Palestine. And even, like, his comrades in the movement thought that he was that he had just fucking lost it, that he was talking to this guy. They considered him to be totally trafe. But yeah, I mean, we see that now. I mean, like, look at all the people who ended up refusing to go to Israel's anti-Semitism conference because they had stacked it with so many neo-Nazis that nobody could pretend that it was seriously an anti-Semitism conference in the sense in which it was supposedly meant.
They then used a fearmonger to further legitimize their project. But all of this is the strategy of the right. Why pretend that the left is doing? Like, this entire essay post is pointing out things Zionists do, but then she turns around and says, "Oh my God, it's the anti-Semitic party. They're getting flashbacks. They don't want solutions. They don't want to stop genocide. They just want to endlessly critique the genocide." Oh God, I'm being sent back. This means to criticize the sanctions not, but something I don't risk to if not outweighed by tangible benefits. So I approach the issue cautiously. But there have been benefits to the widespread left condemnation of Israel.
Yeah. What's that?
Well, I mean, the main benefit, Palestinians in Gaza have been saying it, is it helps them keep going despite the horrible genocidal reality they're facing. It is moral support, and that is nothing to sneeze at. It's not enough, but it's something.
Republicans getting elected, Donald Trump being the president.
See, that is such a great argument until you realize that, what you're saying there actually is that the Democrats threw the election by supporting genocide. So that's like two reasons they shouldn't have supported genocide.
Democrats have been polarized against it very effectively, which is important. Like, if you, like, keep in mind, man, the Vietnam War went on for, like, what, 7 years?
God, nobody, fucking, people in the U.S., nobody knows when the fucking war against Vietnam started. It started in fucking 1961. Late 1961 is when JFK ordered the invasion of Vietnam. It went on till 1975. How many years is that? Try to do a little math, fucking Ian. That's 14 years, not 7. People in the U.S. seem to date the beginning of the war against Vietnam to the beginning of the protests against the war against Vietnam. That seems to be the operative thing. I mean, and the other thing is to somehow exonerate JFK, who was the one who started the fucking war.
Lyndon B. Johnson lost the re-election because people criticized his handling, and then the war went on for like another 4 years or something. Like,
Vietnam was longer than that for us, wasn't it? Vietnam, U.S. involvement, Wikipedia. We were there for a long fucking time. That was
God, is fucking Sex Pestiny about to get this right?
Wild. The overall war was about 20 years. I don't remember when the U.S. was, or how long the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, you could include the time that the U.S. was bankrolling France's attempts to reoccupy Vietnam, in which case it becomes a 20-year war, and beginning in about 1945. Actually, a 30-year war. Yeah, I mean, and the French were bankrolled by the U.S. In fact, that is one of the things the Marshall Plan was for. It literally, if you look at the funds that France got under the Marshall Plan, it exactly matches their expenditures to try to reoccupy Vietnam.
Nothing good happens immediately, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all, but you always have to try. There were probably so many people back in the 1960s who thought the civil rights movement was a waste of time. MLK, you're only polarizing people against you, the white moderate.
Every single thing justified with this line of logic.
Well, the thing is, this line of logic seems to be mostly justifying things that are good and based, whereas your line of logic of just not giving a shit about anything seems mostly to justify the worst shit in the world. So,
like, yes, dogs should be able to be married to humans. If humans and dogs want to marry, that's fine. I know you're saying it's worthless now, but people said the same thing about MLK.
Like, this motherfucker has made a career as a master debater, and he cannot understand how this is, like, this analogy does not work. Because the point is, the idea here that fucking, that is ContraPoints is arguing is precisely that the only reason that you shouldn't be bothering with it is that it is politically infeasible. She's saying up front she is actually technically on side. That is not the situation with the fucking, like, with the idea of humans marrying dogs. And nobody argues that it is.
I know you're saying that we have no chance of succeeding, but people said the same thing about civil rights. I know you're saying that it hasn't been like this for however many years, so it'll never happen. People said the same thing about women's suffrage, right?
Like, this guy has a reputation as this great debater, and there is absolutely no basis for it.
It's such a stupid argument.
What is the pathway that takes us from a present situation to the dissolution of...
Okay, Hassan, who I have considerably more time for, because I have not actually heard him do anything or say anything as shitty as Bush has.
Israel is a Jewish state. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, nuclear war. As usual, leftists champion a Jews cause. And at this point, it's like...
See, thank you for going right over to that, Sex Destiny, because it proves my point that this is a bad analogy.
Into just your own personal, incredibly petty,
because nobody is arguing that the only reason that somebody should be against humans and dogs marrying is that it's a doomed cause. It's literally nobody's argument
about what you think the online left is doing. It turns into just like looking at an issue that is black and white and saying, well, it's the worst crime that you can ever do, genocide, but the leftists are just like being crazy about it. Like, this is just your...
Destiny, do you have any response to Vaush's last point there? Collapsing
Vaush?
Approval for Israel among the Dem base seems like a decent starting point for an argument that Dem leaders should start shifting their messaging, not to the insane progressive Free Palestine, but at least opening the conversation to being more critical of Israel. Sure, if you want to be, that's fine. It's just, this is retarded. I just...
Shut the fuck up.
It's not fun to even think about, like, changing messaging to a bunch of fucking retards that literally couldn't find either of these countries on the fucking map. Like, it is the most retarded issue to virtue signal on ever. And...
He really does not like that so many people care about Palestine. Like, he has done, and this is the best he's got, like, fucking R-slurs, and you shouldn't care about this. I've heard that, but only from Facebook memes that I don't immediately trust, so I'm waiting for confirmation.
And what the people, like the progressives and everything, are basically advocating for are a second Holocaust. Whether they...
No, they're not! Like, no, they're not. Like, that is literal Holocaust denial, what Sex Destiny just did. The idea that the Holocaust is this, that, having equal rights and decolonizing Palestine is the same thing as the fucking Holocaust, is just trivializing the Holocaust.
Realize it or not, and that's the most easily defensible point in the world. They don't know the history of the region, they don't know what they're even asking for, they don't know what the outcome of what they're asking for would be.
You don't know any of those things, though.
The unhinged, like, collapsing of every single social and geopolitical issue into just Gaza is fucking retarded. It is the most virtue signal, like, white privilege.
Wow, the buzzwords are flying fast. Everybody duck. Get your helmets on. You don't want to get hit by the fucking buzzwords. If it's not the R-slurs, it's the buzzwords. It's some fucking virtue signal and R-slurring.
Wealthy cunt position in the fucking world to have. So, like, should diamonds change their messaging on it? Yeah, I guess probably if it becomes like a thing that you have to politically message on. But, like, so, like, should diamonds change their messaging on it? Yeah, I guess probably if it becomes like a thing that you have to politically message on. But, like I'm not going to sit here and engage with the hypothetical of, like, what do a bunch of retarded white wealthy kids who've never seen
wow, that's clearly who Palestinians are.
A person like this entire life who have the most strong position.
Who's never seen a person in their entire life.
Positions on the thing that was
like, motherfucker, look at his house. This guy is a fucking millionaire because he talks shit into a microphone. Oh, yeah.
So fucking retarded. I don't care. Like, if he wants to argue about it, I'll gladly argue. argue about it, but they won't. These people will always avoid challenging conversation on this because they know fuck.
It's not a challenging conversation, motherfucker. You do not have challenging conversations. You are semi-literate. On this subject, you aren't even that. The only challenging thing is that your patience will be tried.
Call literally nothing about anything going on, right? Even what he said before about how, even what he said before was a reversal. I bet you go through his own fucking retarded clips on this. He's like, this genocide was way worse than what was going on with the Bosnian stuff. Why?
Well, I mean, just numerically, that's quite true. And he didn't say the Bosnian stuff, he said Kosovo. And yeah, actually he was, and that's actually also, that was Vush, that wasn't Hassan. Hassan is the one you're looking at. And...
why is he saying that? Probably, or the Serbian stuff. Why is he saying that? Because of the numbers? Like, now the numbers matter, but before when you would point out, how many people died in the Syrian Civil War?
Well, yeah, and the numbers mattered then, because it was still actually the amount of people who died in the dirty war in Syria in 11 years is less than the number who have been murdered in Gaza in 2.
What, like 500,000?
And the reason people were saying that the numbers didn't matter is because, you see, the definition, the legal definition of genocide does not require a specific number of people who have been killed. This is why you look like a complete dickhead at the table with Finkelstein and Morris and fucking Muin Rabbani.
How many people died in Yemen? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands? Like, but that, well, no, it's not about the numbers, it's about the genocide. But now that the numbers for the genocide are higher, well, now we go back to the numbers.
No, that was never the thing. You absolute dickhead. People, the numbers, the point that they were making, if you understood anything about this, Sex Destiny, you would understand that then what people were saying was that the legal definition of genocide does not require a certain specific number of people to be killed. But that doesn't mean the numbers don't matter. That doesn't mean that it doesn't matter how many people Israel and the U.S. have murdered.
It's bullshit. All these arguments are bullshit. It's like retard after retard after retard for all of this.
God, yeah, I mean, he does. He really... both of you said he talks like a fucking middle schooler. He does. This is like, I mean, this is arguments I was in like 6th grade, the way he talks.
Why do you keep saying white, though? Nearly every Muslim in existence also agrees with Vosh 10 times harder? Because the Muslims that agree, if you want...
Oh, this is gonna be... we know that there's gonna be a good take incoming.
Talk to real Muslims, not 19-year-old kids on college campus.
Well, see, the real Muslims, one thing you know about real Muslims is that they've never been to university and they're never 19 years old.
Like 5th generation. I'm a cultural Muslims that are fucking retarded and they know how to pronounce like 2 things in whatever they're...
Yeah, well, how many fucking things do you know how to pronounce, motherfucker?
Parents, mother's tongue is, right? Actual Muslims will be honest with you and they'll...
Actual Muslims. Well, I'm so glad we have here... Yeah, I mean, like the Shia and Sunni can finally put aside their disagreement because the caliphate has been restored here. The true arbiter of Islam is here before us, and it's fucking destiny. I'm so... just think, he is issuing his first fatwa right now. Real Muslims are never 19 years old, they've never been to university, and they agree with destiny on Palestine. Wow. I'm sure this...
tell you what their goals are. They tell you what their desires are. No, if you go to the Middle East and you ask anybody who has strong feelings about this, they're not going to give you these cuck like, oh, we believe in a 2-state solution where everybody has equal, or a 1-state solution. And they're going to say, get these fucking Jews the fuck out of here. Get them the goddamn fuck out of this place. We want them the fuck out. They're not going to give you these weird, half-measured, cucked opinions that these fucking 75 IQ knuckle-dragging retards.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Hassan actually spent, I think, a fair amount of time growing up in Turkish.
Bosch are going to give you. Though they're more realistic and honest about what they actually believe. Even if you poll 2-state in Israel-Palestine before October 7th, nobody wants a 2-state solution. Nobody...
That's not actually true. Well, Settlers didn't want it. Palestinians were overwhelmingly willing to settle for it.
There even wants it. Okay, nobody wants it.
And who the fuck brought up two-state solution? By the way, I mean, other than fucking Twaddly. Like, I didn't hear Hassan supporting a two-state solution. I didn't hear Bush saying it, except in sort of a transitional two-state solution that nobody believes in, which was silly.
Right? It's the difference between talking to fake Muslims or white people, depending on what he wants to be at the time. Hassan, who's like, oh no, we would...
So, okay, to which we add, I mean, I am so glad that Steve the Caliph is giving his fatwa here on who real Muslims are, because apparently being Hassan means you are not a real Muslim.
They don't use human shields. It's actually Israel that uses human shields.
Well, yeah, because those are facts. See, Destiny, my beloved little sex pest scumbag shitfuck, a lot of people care about facts. There's no evidence of Palestinians ever using human shields. There is copious evidence of Israel using them. In fact, they have an explicit policy of doing it called the neighbor procedure. Okay. And with that, it is time to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you to everyone who joined in. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Shakespeare. Always nice to see you. And I will be back at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Friday, where we will continue. And if you have some ideas about videos you would like me to react to when resume, drop them in the suggestions box channel over on my Discord, which I'm going to give you a link to right now. God. Destiny is like the lettuce that you forget about. And then you go into the fucking drawer in the fridge and you look at it and it's like, oh shit, I gotta deal with this now. Ugh. Okay, have a good night. Have a good week. I look forward to seeing